conservative with your reactions, that would be wonderful. Thank you. I have enabled the Q&A function for you to also place your questions there. It's actually quite useful to put your questions there so that we can answer them either when another speaker is speaking, another speaker can answer their questions on the Q&A function on, just by typing in, rather than having to ask those questions and answer them live, so we can get more done in the session. But without any further ado, I'd like to welcome Professor Cesar to introduce the speakers today and introduce the topic, and then really just talk about this very, very important event and the topic that we're talking about today. So maybe just to mention, Prof. Cesar is also on our Good Governance Academy's Research Forum's steering committee that is headed up by Professor Piet Nordier, who is one of our non-executive directors. So over to you, Cesar. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We are so excited to welcome all our participants from all over the world. Thank you for your kind interest. And today we will be discussing about the new and really interesting issues just arriving to our agenda. Either you are within the academia like me, or in the business world as a representative. Erkan Bey is here. So we are looking forward to your questions, any interest. You are always welcome to share your experiences as well, because this is a quite new topic and we are all experiencing the new era with the digital transformation and everything. So today, as Caroline mentioned, I'm part of the steering committee, and we are organizing nice webinars, and you are also welcome to attend others to contribute our good governance and the digitalization process, which we are actually experiencing in our lives, not only in the business, but everywhere. We can say that. So I will be starting with the good governance approach and the connection with the digital transformation. And then Mr. Erkan Yeniçare will let us know what's going on in the business world and the real challenges we will be hearing from him. And he's from Turkey, Norm Digital CEO. It's a hard work, I know that. Previously, I used to do many projects, and I can understand his position. So I'm looking forward to his speech. And then Professor Ade will be joining us soon. And we are, due to this electricity problem, expecting him a couple of minutes time. Thank you for your understanding. And now I will be starting to present mine. So if we are talking about artificial intelligence, the point reached and beyond really surprising for most of the people, because as you can see, starting from the 60s and then coming to now, and GPT-4 and beyond, we start with the machine learning. Okay, nice. Learn to learn, reinforce deep learning. And then what is next, actually? Everybody is trying their best to understand and somehow adapt their agenda accordingly, either in the business world or in academia, in the universities. We are experiencing this. So it's the interactive, integrated, intelligent, and humanized artificial intelligence approach coming with a fast and really challenging issues. And we call this social revolution because it's everywhere. anything interacting with humans. So either in the industry, as the industry robots, or consumer at home, the pandemic period, we experienced this. But when we come to the reality work, we are all looking for the 4 E's, common say of, efficiency, effectiveness, economics, last but not least, and really important for the artificial intelligence platform, is the ethical perspective. So jobs replacement, and we need to consider about what will be our position as human beings against robots. And during this COVID, we get used to working the remote way of, meeting together and doing many other things and taking decisions online, virtual platforms and everything. So somehow artificial intelligence arrive our home. So this will be also changing our culture, the privacy issues, confidentiality, and everything. So in this respect, if we combine this issue with the governance, so we have the AI, and it's everywhere, smart, interactive, intelligent, integrated. So if we discuss this within the corporate context, we have some layers. So corporate governance and information governance, IT and data, especially the data governance, is quite critical in that sense. Why I say ethics is important, because when we are talking about artificial intelligence, it historically starts from the algorithms. So what will happen to algorithmic bias, algorithmic discrimination? So here we should be considering the ethic side of this, and we also be aware of the needs, especially being responsible, trustworthy, and legal AI to make it more transparent and accountable. Because when we are talking about the corporate governance, it's all about these issues. So I used to be an auditor. So in that sense, it's not only just traditional auditing, but we need to all have our ethics audit tools and techniques ready to contribute this governance process to make AI implementations, especially the robotics, responsible, trustworthy, ethical, and legal in our lives. So here, again, governance related to the framework. Part of it is the legal framework. On the one hand, we have the innovation really fast going everywhere. On the other hand, we need to regulate everything to stabilize our lives and everything. So we need to think about the artificial rights. And here, for the legal framework, we have, commonly used to these topics as natural persons, legal entities. But here we have technological entities, algorithmically managed business environment, decentralized organizations, and specifically, we are facing with many types of smart contracts. So some organizations are just using this artificial intelligence for making their operations efficient and effective. But when it comes to just the maturity level of governance structure, including the AI implementations, we will be facing with not only distributed business entities, but autonomous entities will be part of our lives. So specifically, when we say digitalization, it is defined as the increased connectivity. So networking of digital technologies. Imagine, everywhere, communication, all kinds of services, trade between people, organizations, and things. So this will bring us a quite important opportunity. But on the other hand, we need to discuss and clarify the challenges as well. And when we say challenge, another big challenge is related to sustainability. As all you know, United Nations Global Sustainable Development Goals, which will be also part of our agenda. Not only the digitalization, but also sustainability, making it more sustainable, responsible, and if it's possible, green version. For the governance side, we have the ethical and effective leadership needed for a governing body to achievement of any kind of goal for the organization, but the structure should be based on ethical culture, good performance, effective control, and legitimacy. Here we usually based on a model and with a structure framework. Within this structure, we start from the board of directors and committees. But as I mentioned, GPT-4 actually will be bringing some fast decision-making structure to our board of directors. Legal and regulatory framework, and I'm sure Erkan Bey will be telling us more about these issues, organizational hierarchy, and how to monitor and control and make it more accountable based on policies and procedures. We all use these key factors and variables to actually measure the governance maturity level of organizations. So within this model, we need to combine governance approach, digitalization approach based on digital sustainability so that we can work on big data, use artificial intelligence, robotic applications and everything. But there are many discussions leading to a digital divide in that sense. And we have the metrics. So when we are talking about these metrics, all of them should be connected to artificial intelligence and robotic applications. What will happen to economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental issues? Will it be changing and supporting the human life, or will it be a real threat for our future? Whatever we are doing, and actually for the business world, we start from business models. So with the technology, advanced technology, make it possible to just digital transformation within the governance umbrella. There are many issues, and we will be asking questions to our guest speakers. What will be the impact of robotic implications for this issue, specifically business model and digital transformation process? And it's a global issue, actually. That's why I would like to mention the country experiences. You also write where you are from, and I will be taking notes afterwards, and you are all welcome. And you see the top 4 not changing, but we have other countries like Israel and Netherlands really working hard, full of projects, and we will see what's next for their agenda. Here, when we talk about artificial intelligence, actually, it's not only AI knowledge, but also we need to have domain knowledge to make it more effective, efficient for our both business and the career as well. So here, once again, I would like to mention about our platform, Good Governance Research Development Program, so that if you come, we can do some nice work on good governance data analytics, performance analytics, and digitalization-based issues to improve the conditions for the maturity level of good governance for our country and wherever you are. And thank you. This is for my presentation. And it's now time to give the floor to Erkan. And Professor Ade is also with us. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Mrs. Bozkuş. Hello to everyone. I'm really glad to be here to tell about our experiences and thoughts for a really giant company as a representative of a C-level management. Actually, even though today's event is an academic event, let's say, due to the audiences, as a representative of the business world, I would like to present a short section of the business perspective of artificial intelligence and business applications, actually as a main roof of this idea of digital transformation. For this reason, before going into the details of my speech, I would like to introduce myself and my company to which I am dedicated. My name is Ade-Ibijola, as you see. I am here today with two hats, actually. I am the representative of the service consumer and the service producing party. My first role is the CIO of Norm Holding. I am also the general manager of Norm Digital, which is the one company of 24 of Norm Holding. Norm Digital is our group's technology company. For myself, for last 20 years, I have held senior management positions and managed companies in global and Turkish companies in the business world. I've been in the technology and software world at least for last 7 years. After working as general manager in several industry companies, managing an IT and software company gave me a special power, actually. And what is that power? I have a special mission to blend technology complication and romance with the business, actually, realities. So if the word comes to Norm Holding, I would like to have a few sentences about that. Norm Holding is a group of industrial organizations which is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year. So that means the company holds multi-generations. Actually, it generates income of over 600 million euros and 24 companies, approximately 4,500 employees in different companies. Actually, we have warehouses and sales offices in the United States, Germany, Poland, and Romania. So, and also, we are going to have a production site in Michigan area, which will start to produce first products at the end of first quarter of 2024. So we are an automotive supplier, industry manufacturer at its core, but we have many different sectors that we are serving. Also, actually, all vehicle manufacturers that come to mind, such as Tesla, Volkswagen Group, Renault, Volvo, Mercedes, such as whatever it is, are the customers of Norm Holding. So these customers also very demanding customers. So that means you have to bring new approaches and destructive services modules in order to serve these giant automotive companies. So our company also, which has grown at a dizzying pace, has started to make technology and software investments, actually, within a certain strategy, especially since 2017. According to our roadmap, the basic strategy was to determine what is digital environment for our company, and what is data collection tool, what are the data collection tools that forms the center of all operations, so which we call the digital core. Actually, and the definition of the digital transformation for our company has been underlined as connectivity, as Ms. Bosch already mentioned, the connectivity from everywhere, every time, and every condition. So this is really important. This was really important for us, especially during our globalization steps. For the three continents. Actually, this core, as I said, was basically based on 4 pillars. The first one, customer experience. Customer experience is the purpose of our company's existence, actually. So we all know that the business world is not that more romantic. You have to put profits on the table. Businesses are for-profit organizations, and this only comes with continuous customer satisfaction. So for this pillar, we had to develop technological solutions in order to be one step ahead from our competitors. And I'm going to tell what we did actually. The second pillar was the employee interaction. Also, you have customers, but without employees, the customer doesn't exist. So employee satisfaction supported by data is the basis of both innovation and the creating of sustainable innovation and sustainable creativity environment. And the third and fourth pillars are the supply chain and product development, which are the foundations of the operations. So that means, okay, you have employees, you have customers, and you have to put something on the table to be served to attract the customers. And this is your product. Of course, in order to create a product, you need supply chain operations. So if companies can solve the dilemma of innovation, actually, which is very critical, and the industry and product turns entrepreneurship, this is really valuable for us, and transform this idea, transform it into a systematic company culture, and they can then, on that case, they can achieve the good to great company transition, as everyone knows as a famous book, from good to great company transition can be done. So there are two important issues in the core. So you have pillars, and we put a core between these 4 pillars, and this is real-time reporting and operational excellence. Actually, only 4 words, but you can put many implications and approaches and applications also behind that 2 hats. I mean, real-time reporting and operational excellence. So that means you have to create real data, and you have to create some tools to create valuable decision supporting mechanisms, also robotic applications, of course, and the softwares. Actually, the one works on the reliability and timing, that means the real-time data processing, timing of the flowing data, and the other, operational excellence, forms the basis of artificial intelligence or decision support mechanisms. 20 years ago, at the end of 90s, OPEX, operational excellence, was only valid for the operations area, which is formed by Six Sigma or Kaizen or whatever the tools are. But today, operational excellence strategy has to be created in the very corners of the data management and the artificial intelligence, especially nowadays. During the times we are navigating, the terrain is very rocky due to the GPT-4, artificial intelligence, storms, etc. So the data management is, for business perspective, the key issue to be managed. So okay, we created this core, outside of this core, our support functions, IoT, machine learning, Industry 4.0, innovation culture that will make all these possible. Because without a culture or passion to be better, a company cannot survive within these rocky days. Actually, 6 years ago, so we started to use robotic applications with the RPA technology. I mean, at the end of, actually 5 years ago, at the end of 2019. So we created a norms first digital employee in order to create a gamification about that. And Normie, and we gave a name to this cute character. Was recruited in 2018, and Normie, which is a digital color employee, which undertakes all of the primitive, repetitive, and non-value added works, which is the first step of this digitalization, produces transformation, and produces more than 5,000 hours of work every month. So this is really was first step. This was really one first step to use very primitive RPA technology, robotic application, in order to get rid out of non-value added actions of employees. And this is really nothing related with the AI, but in order to start this change, you have to start with the primitive actions. So that means robots, I mean, static robots, not dynamic robots. Static robots has to be hired or has to be started to use. I'm talking about just artificial robots. Of course, this is a software. Of course, and there is another aspect, and this is the physical robots. I'm not just going to go to deep details of physical robots. I'm just talking about the IT sections of the robotic applications. So while we are using these robotic applications, actually in every department of an industry company, in sales, in human resources, in accounting, and in finance, in logistics, in every operation can be create, can have opportunities to be pushed the works to the robotic employees. So actually, after this primitive action, before going into the details of artificial intelligence, I would like to give information about our theorem on this subject. Actually, so we created a diagram about digitalization, digital transformation, and Industry 4.0 developments. Ms. Bozkuş, just warn me because I cannot stop myself. When I have to finish, actually, I have a few sections to be mentioned. I will be glad to mention, but just warn me, okay?
We are all happy to listen to you. Thank you.
Okay, super. So we defined the definition of digitalization, as I said, accessing information from anywhere, under any condition, democratizing access of the information. So from anywhere connectivity in the middle of, from anywhere connection, this term is in the middle of the secret. Okay, let's define how it is possible to access information. So, computers are everywhere, tablets, some smartphones, even any home appliances that generates data. So just to think about the industrial machines. So how do we reach this data generation? What technology is it produced with? Okay, if we define after this definition, so we have the technology and tool that produces data. After that, okay, you created data. We have two missing ingredients left. So what are they? Where will be this data stored? And this is the dilemma that industrial companies has to solve because of the increase of the data storage costs. For this data, is it possible to democratize data with the local servers or storages? Or in this case, cloud technologies come into play with the chance of unlimited storage, and the speeds we come to today. And so we started a transition phase to cloud for this storage. So that means where data, you define where are you going to generate this data and where you storage. So that means almost we finished our strategy. So then we can safely say that the basement suitable for machine learning and artificial intelligence has developed, because you have data, you have all the physical tools to store it, to play it, and you need some softwares or some ways in order to play. Now we can start talking about a little bit about AI and data. So because you have data, you have storage, you have the playing area. So what has to be done? Now we are just creating a development, a few data analytics projects, actually not a few, many projects with using old methodologies with machine learning and the very new technologies also. Actually, I would like to share data which is open in front of me, which is conducted. This data comes from a survey which is conducted by KPMG, and this survey has been realized in 2021 by KPMG. And what the first section says: business leaders believe machine learning will have the greatest impact on their respective industries. I mean, 2.5 years, maybe 2 years before GPT-4 comes into in our lives, and 41% of CIOs, C-level business leaders, says that firstly, these AI technologies, 41% will affect on industrial manufacturing, and it will comes with the machine learning, and 35% says that it will comes with the robotic process applications, and 35% also artificial and AR and VR technologies will come to disrupt our worlds. So that means first three answer comes from the software developments and these disruptive software technologies 2 years ago. And now today we come to on that world. We really drop ourselves in the middle of these predictions. So artificial intelligence coming to life of every industrial company, and RPA, generating very huge and gigantic growth rates within the companies. Also, AR and VR is coming to our lives. So what we have to, as a business leaders, as a producer, and as a solution user. First of all, the definition is very, very important. Why we need, and what is
we request a very fast solution, Erkan Bey.
Fast solution, okay.
To make it ready for the academia to start teaching new professionals for you.
two sentences at the end. Life technological improvements are getting in our lives. In terms of business aspect, in terms of personal aspects, there is a crazy changing. What we have only to do is open our hands and hug them, because if you try to fight with the improvements and the technology changes, then you will be beaten. So this is a certain rule of life. So what we have to do is music is change, and we have to change your dance. Thank you very much.
Very good summary. I will keep in mind this. Thank you very much. So we have a new music coming from the academia. Professor Ade, floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Caesar, and thanks, Erkan. I enjoyed your presentation, and I love the way you ended your presentation to say the music has changed, we have to change our dance. Thank you very much for inviting me to this platform to share with you. I'm going to try to share my screen now, and you can tell me if you can see my screen. Please confirm if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see.
All right, great stuff, great stuff. Thank you very much. So the theme is robotics and good governance. So I was thinking I would give a presentation about what we do on my side at the university. Basically, robotics, we buy off the shelf humanoids, and we program them, we use them to entertain people. So also for educational purposes, one of the robots in our lab is this one on the screen, which is an iPad. It's called iPad, which is programmable. It interacts with people, old age people. It's used also in healthcare. So, but then my research basically is in AI and applications in general. So I wanted to share some of the work we do in my space, so that by the time we now have a conversation with the panelists, I can share my opinion about good governance, ethics, policies, and societal impact of AI or robotics in the long run, because I think at the end of the day, that's why we are all here. ChatGPT is out there. What does it mean for people? So my presentation will take this form. I'm going to talk about techniques. Basically, there are two major classifications of AIs you'll find. You find some statistical AI, which is quite common now. Machine learning became common because machines were faster. Back in the day, it wasn't fashionable because computational time was not achievable. But the techniques in there, they've been around for decades and decades. And I'll tell you about symbolic AI as well, because sometimes we need exact results. This kind of AI, even though they're referred to as weak AI sometimes, they provide good results. Then I'll give a conclusion. So for our colleagues that might not be in computing, here is a very simple way to describe statistical artificial intelligence. Basically, you just have a lot of data, and then you build models on those data sets. So those models can look at that data and try to either predict, find patterns. And when they look at the data set, if the data is images, then we call it CNN, convolutional neural networks. Or if it's just text, another form of data points, you can call them artificial neural networks. Sometimes we refer to it as multi-layer perceptrons, but these are technical things. You don't have to worry about them. But basically, you have good data sets, you can ask a machine to look at it. Then other ways you can go about doing this is just to find existing models and you use them for your own applications. So let's say there are models already like APIs, you can plug and play them into your business, into whatever you're doing. So if you have a facial recognition API already, you don't have to create one. You can just use it for, if you're in healthcare or another sector of finance, you can use those things for your own need. Then symbolic and rule-based AI. This one takes the form of formal techniques. We call them deterministic, sometimes they're deterministic probabilistic rules, or meaning that sometimes you just set the AI to do certain things. If you perceive this, do this. Well, probabilistic, you like, if you perceive this much, you can do that, or else you can do the other thing. So, but it's getting old-fashioned because now we have more clean data sets for the machine learning part of things. So I'm just going to share some recent projects we have in our space that we've done. We've been able to, so on our side, like I said, it's not much of our robotic part of things. I think Erkan mentioned that the soft part, the machine art part. So Erkan's company is more into building these machines, and also we build the soft part, the algorithm part of things, AI. So we're able to build this AI that could predict if a student is going to fail before they actually fail. So we leveraged on the years of data we have of different students, and we're able to predict to a very high level of precision. We have chatbots that can support students in learning Python. We did this in 2020, just before ChatGPT. We've explored ChatGPT as well, and we realized that it can actually support the teaching of programming as well. So this one is depth chart. This one is has a social impact for people that have hearing impairment. So this one is based on an API, and it can allow a deaf person to actually type. And instead of reading what they're typing, you can actually hear what they're typing. So when they're typing, they're chatting with you, then you can hear it on the other side. During COVID, we realized that students were cheating a lot. So we created this AI application that does random photography and tries to use computer vision to see how many people are writing the exams at the same time. This one allows students to study long videos. So you can ask a static video dynamic question. So you can formulate a question and ask the video. What happens here is the question is then translated first, and then we try to look for the part of the video that addresses the question, and then the user is referred to those parts. Pathbot, this one allows you to find your way around the campus. So basically, you are just around asking questions as if you're chatting to your brother or your sister, and it can show you how to. You can say, "I'm lost again," and it can tell you what can you see. To tell you what you can see, then it finds you in a graph in a map, and then tries to navigate you to where you're going. Symbolic rule-based AI. Here we were able to group students into personality types, because in theory of psychology, it's been proven that when personalities aren't shaped very well, then there's more productivity. But if there's personality clashes, then it's a problem. So we were able to, with a questionnaire, the students will tell us what's their person. They don't know they're saying that's a personality. They just answer a couple of questions, and then we were able to group them into separate groups to make sure they are more efficient. Regular expressions, it's it's considered to be one of the difficult aspects of computation. It's part of formal language theory. So here we were able to synthesize different problems and solutions with multiple choice answers to assist students in learning. It's one of our solutions from previous years. Generation of Python programs. I've actually never checked if ChatGPT can generate new programs or will just recite some previous programs. But in 2018, we were able to generate Python programs for practice using AI. Now we can read proposals using AI and give feedback to students. So this one of projects as well, proofreading academic proposals. We've done some work in finance where we look at comprehension of instant messages, messages from instant Bloomberg. We do CV generation. So you complete a form, we normalize your entry, and then we use some context-free grammars to generate several instances of CVs for you, and you can get to pick one based on the design you like. Legal contracts. So here we were able to find critical clauses in legal contracts. So if you have a very thick legal contract, we could go through it and tell you what you should be looking at for. This one was a solution for small businesses. So we're able to generate advertisements for small businesses so that they can push it to social media, and they can help their businesses that way. Translation of clinical notes. So clinical notes contain a lot of jargon, medical terms. So in this work as well, we're able to decrypt clinical notes. Almost close to the end now, we have problem synthesizers for Twitter. So most students spend time on Twitter. So one of our previous projects was to create algorithms for generating real-life problems that are very close to the curriculum, and push those problems to them on Twitter. And after 10 minutes, we go back to Twitter, the AI pushes the solution out. So while the students are scrolling their feed on Twitter, they can see problems from the classroom and solutions from the classroom. Then here we were able to slice CVs into component parts so that we can use that in HR recruitment. So that's just an highlight of a few things we do in the AI space. These things cover the range of healthcare, education. It's a broad range that we cover in my space. And mostly what we have are working mobile and web apps with AI-driven approach to them. And we have algorithms, we have some video games that are AI-based. The always question is, should we go statistical or symbolic? We explore the two. So symbolic is kind of the low-hanging fruit. However, when you have good data sets, we do machine learning and all of these other things on the side. For robotics, what we have from our space is off the shelf, like the one I showed you just now, the iPad. So we have humanoids off the shelf. We program them to receive our guests and to be at our events and to interact with our audience. So thank you. I look forward to the final conversation. That's what I have for you today.
Thank you so much, Prof. Ade. And just for your conclusion, I would like to ask you and Erkan Bey to answer. What is expected for the future? What is your expectations for the next generation? Because they are all robotic native and playing with the smartphones, next generation, and how to handle them. Thank you.
Akram, you can go first.
Yeah, actually, some professions are going to be lost, but this is already set within next 2 generations. Some occupations and some abilities will be useless. This is very sure. Actually, this is the nature of change, but now this is more valid. Then this change is more fast. According to an investigation of Oxford University, I read, during 1984 to 2014, the softwares or the tools which is developed in IT world, let's say technology world, 82% of this tool has been lost or has become useless within less than 5 years. So today, the life cycle of tools are smaller than that, as everyone can accept it. So what we have to do, I'm just talking about industrial perspective and also the personal perspective. What we have to do is we have to learn how to learn. And we have to learn how to learn faster. And I'm just carrying one step further. Every person in their life will be AI user within next 10 years. So it is really
very strong saying, I must say.
yes, sure. Everyone is going to use AI, intentionally or unintentionally, but we are going to use it. So that means we have to start to learn how to use AI and how to implement our lives, how to implement some industries, and how to implement our daily business.
So we are all welcoming all the participants who are listening to us to go away from their comfort zone and come to the universities to learn more about the new techniques and innovation. And Professor Ade will be giving us some clues about the next, let's say, 5 to 10 years. What will be the academia? Will there be some robot colleagues with us within the university? What do you think? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Prof. Caesar. I think, yes. Let me begin by saying that the future government is going to be the tech companies. They're getting so powerful. They have too much data set. And now they're creating powerful applications. In fact, there's been a call in the last 2 weeks for them to slow down the way they're releasing the technologies, because policymakers are not catching up. Policymakers also do not understand these technologies in and out. So we have a problem there. I think if you're planning for the next 5 years in education, I expect robots in the classroom. I don't think that would be a problem. I think the human expert is not always available anyway. So, and the human expert, the professor's job can switch from content delivery to content moderation, creation, the creativity around learning, data science around how students are learning, and more sophisticated things. So the teacher can just sit back and collect data from the classroom, analyze it, and improve the learning experience using all those machines. So I think that's probably what you're looking at in education for the next 5, 10 years. For regulators and policymakers and governments, I think they need to have frequent conferences every 6 months with the tech giants to actually set boundaries as well. We should not have to sit at home and just open the internet and we see ChatGPT 4. There must be someone who has sanctioned the release of it, because these things are, the next thing you see, it could be much more devastating. So I think for young people, though, we need to train them in mathematics at a very young age and very strongly so, and expose them to technology. Because if we don't, especially if you're from the global south, if you don't add your voice into the conversation of development of technology, then all the technology we consume for the future will be from the West. And if that is the case, then it's another form of colonial. If they shut it down, then we're not going to have anything to use. So we need people from around the world to be able to create this AI as well. And young people, we can target them with maths and we can target with programming very early in high school, primary schools. And when they step up, they can begin to create AI for their own context. You know, Brazil could do that. In Africa, we could do that. Everybody can have their own technology going on. Finally, I think one thing AI would do in future that is very good, robotics is very good, is that they can help us with social grants. Meaning that for a vulnerable population, they would work around the clock, they would create more value. So we generate more funds and hopefully there's less corruption. So there'll be much surplus. If you have AI in agriculture, for example, you could produce 10 times what agriculture is producing, so you can feed more people. So I think there is a social grants context to AI in healthcare for the people that are vulnerable. We can deploy robots to be their companions and stuff like that. So I think it's not all doom and gloom, but I think on a matter of fact, governments need to lead the conversation and get to these tech giants before this takeover is complete. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And last, I would like to contribute as the ethical perspective once again, because when, as Prof. Ade mentioned, professor is needed in a class or in the university, they will be supposed to coordinate these ethical codes, responsible implementations, and we need to trust not only each other, but also robotic applications as well. So in that sense, I believe audit structure will be transforming to smart auditing, digital auditing, and also ethical audit to keep in mind that if people are taking decisions in such a quick way, speedy, digital, and everything smart, then regulation will be always coming behind and slow. So this means we need some ethical touch and ethical conduct to prevent such risky issues. And in addition, I believe dangerous works can be done by robotics, and this will be also important for experimenting new things. For instance, this is also the case for the health industry to make some different experiments and space work as well. So thank you very much. And we can request some questions from our participants if they like. We are ready to answer before we say goodbye.
I think there's a question.
Any questions?
Okay. Thank you, Cesar. Yes, there is one there. It's a question that says, are you expecting big tech to have a conscience and not just a profit desire? I think that is an ethical debate. I'll give it to Prof. Abe right now. And let's take it from the global south before taking it up north.
Yeah, what will be the song here?
Absolutely. I think here is the problem. We know in business is always about business. We've seen it with Facebook. We've seen it. Facebook gave more advertisement that you clicked, gave you similar content and got you glued to the screen at the expense of your views. So if you were far left, Facebook gave you far left content, so you had no opportunity of consuming more far right just to balance your views. So I think we don't expect tech big tech to have a conscience. We don't. Some of them are really trying to have an ethics unit, ethics division. But even when they do have ethics, they don't let them publish research. So they regulate what they can put out there. So I know of a story of a lady who was fired from one of the big tech companies just because she questioned some of the things that was being done. So that's where the government is powerful. I'm sure you saw what happened with TikTok. The government can actually bring you to a table to say, we'll shut you down. We want to ask all the questions, explain to us in layman terms. And now the government needs its own tech people to also understand what is being explained and to ask questions. And the best guys to do that to be academics, professors in the fields, to actually query these algorithms, even request to see what's going on at the back end of it and what the data is being used for. So we cannot short answer, we cannot rely on big tech to have conscience, but we can make the government, we can make them accountable by the government.
Thank you. And maybe just from an academic perspective, Cesar, from a Turkish perspective, are you seeing that we're getting some kind of accountability coming through?
This is a very difficult question, and I would like to pass this to Erkan Bey because he is always in the field and he can say which song is available.
Yeah, actually, I would like to underline a general condition. As everyone follow that, OpenAI already launched their manifest within last four weeks ago something. And what is written there, I would like to read it. Our mission is to ensure that artificial general intelligence, AI systems that are generally smarter than humans and benefits all of humanity. So this is real. I mean, in terms of creativity, not only humanistic, but the machinistic, let's say, creativity, AI is going to be more and more smarter and more faster than we are. So this is okay, but what they see there, they are afraid. I mean, they are even afraid because we are in the very corner of a portion of the future, the bad one and the good one. And this is in our hands to choose which one is going to be created by the humanity with using AI. So we are here in the good future and the bad future. And this is not a, let's say, this is not a movie or film. And this real life is coming. I hope we are going to choose as humanity the good one, the utopic one, not the dystopic one. Thank you.
Thank you, Erkan. And then Cesar, Prof. Cesar, from your perspective, last word on this.
Thank you for all excellent speakers, and many thanks for our participants who are listening to us. They are all welcome to join our platform, Good Governance Research Forum. We are expecting your questions, and we will be sharing this presentation and ready to collaborate with our whole best wishes to you. Currently, I am in Bishkek, Kyrgyz Republic, but the world is so small in that sense, and this is one of the example of that. We are all coming together, sharing the same screen and discussing about our future. So everything is actually in our hands, and it's time to make a decision for yourself, for your future career, and start learning about artificial intelligence and robotic implementations, because they will be all around us and we need to know each other. They will be either at home or at work, doesn't matter. So we should be get used to this feeling as soon as possible, to adapt and to make it work and make it good for our next generation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cesar. Thank you very much to all the speakers, and thank you to our audience online. The recording will be available on the webpage, and we hope that you will join our future Research Forum events. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks.